the nostalgia, the tradition, the magic, the memories, and the madness in 1,000 points of improvised dialogue. Theme Park Thursday with DillosDiz on the Improviser's Guide Network.
Now is the time.
Forever?
Miss Tomorrow.
Old.
A minute and a half.
Hashtag always MGM.
Step out here, right?
Old.
The
Drink.
secret staircase.
We always do that.
You are approaching the unloading area.
Behold the majesty of the Sistine Seal.
For the kids.
A salute to all theme parks, but mostly Walt Disney World.
What a cute ending.
Aloha and welcome aboard.
This is Theme Park Thursday with DillosDiz. She is Jen.
Hello.
And I am Frank, and this is it, everybody. This is something that we have been waiting. If we had a wish list when we started this podcast, Jen.
I'm pretty sure we said this. Right? We did. We said this person's name on our wish list. Absolutely.
Specifically.
Yes.
And we have talked long on this podcast about how we were big fans of the all-new Mickey Mouse Club, how we were huge fans of the party. And this summer, the party is celebrating their 30th anniversary. And we were like, maybe it's time to put our fears aside. And it's never a yes until you ask.
That's right.
And we asked this guest to join us today, and he said yes. And we were like, jaws dropped, Kevin McAllister, Home Alone type facial expressions. And he is here today to join us, and we couldn't be more excited. Please welcome Chasen Hampton to Theme Park Thursday. Chasen, hello.
Hey.
Hello. Thank you so much for coming on.
Super happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Well, this has been a crazy couple of months, and we want to check in with you and your family, make sure everyone is healthy and good. How have you been doing?
We're all living. We haven't strangled each other yet. But all seems good. I got two little ones, 2 and 3, and so it's crazy here.
I was going to ask how old they were. Frank has a 4-year-old. I have a 5 and 3-year-old. So we get it. We get that.
You do.
Yes.
You do. Yeah, it's exhausting.
Yes.
Yeah. And I try to get stuff done at night, and then of course 4:30, 5 o'clock rolls around, and they're already like banging at the door. They jump in bed. No. Where's the batteries? Can I just pull your battery out for a second?
My life, exactly. Yeah.
Well, and especially for me now being here upstate New York, the birds start chirping. They don't chirp as much and it's loud in New York City as they do up here. And when the sun rises, so yeah, it's a whole new experience for me. I totally get it.
Everybody needs some more birds chirping. But
I know, right?
No,
you need some nature in your life.
That's so odd, though. That makes sense, though, because you're not used to it. All of a sudden, you're like, what is happening? Like, what is going on out there? They're really loud.
There's no horns honking outside my window? Those birds? What?
Yeah. Helicopters?
Yeah.
Like the sun's actually coming through the windows. I'm like, it must be 9 o'clock, and it's like 5:30 in the morning. It makes no sense. Again, thank you so much. We kind of wanted to emphasize a lot on the party, but we wanted to kind of just get the ball rolling on you so the audience gets reacquainted, as it were, because they should totally know who Chasen is. Holy cow.
Yes.
You grew up in Oklahoma City.
Yes.
What was that like for you? Like, as a kid trying to figure out, I know you have a lot of performer background from your childhood. Just give us your experience with that.
It was a wild time. I mean, it's Oklahoma's a beautiful place. It's not there wasn't a lot to. There's more to do now, of course. Everything's kind of built up, but back then there wasn't a lot to do for people who were into performing arts. My parents, my dad was really a heavy sports guy. His dad and his dad's dad, they were all basketball coaches and big into coaching men's basketball. And my dad could have honestly been a professional tennis player. He was an amazing tennis player. So he always kind of thought maybe I'd get into that realm. And, I was always interested in, I'd go see plays as a kid and I want to do that, And I don't know if it was being a redhead or just being kind of an introverted kid. At school, I really didn't have a lot of friends or, fit in the kind of jock category. But I started doing some acting classes and joined a little acting class called Candid Kids in Oklahoma. Started with some voice lessons, and then I see what else was going on. Oh, there's a A dance class, okay, I'll take that too. Oh, there's a circus arts class. Why not? I'll take that. Before I knew it, I was just taking all these classes, mostly because I fit in with these kids. They were other kids that were kind of like me that didn't really fit in anywhere, and we were kind of all in this little, community. I think we had that common ground, and kind of grew up doing the theater thing, and it got me into competitions. There were a lot of competitions in the South. There's a lot of pageants and stuff like that. I didn't do pageants, but similar to that, there were variety competitions where they do singing and dancing and monologues or variety stuff. And I got really heavy into doing that. And my dad actually was being the competitive guy that he was in sports. He would say, all right, okay, here's what we need to do. Song choice, we're in the Midwest, we're in Oklahoma, the Bible Belt. So he's like, all right, here's how we win. And he's like, we got to do a patriotic number, right? And I was like, oh, okay. So at that time, God Bless the USA, right, was out. That was like a heavy thing to do kind of back then, but it was almost too done. So I started doing Memory from Cats.
Wow.
Now that's not a patriotic number, but what we did is that was a heavy number that a lot of kids would compete with. So for whatever reason, Cats was big back then. And a lot of girls would come and that would be their thing. They'd sing Memory from Cats. And of course my voice hadn't changed yet, and I could nail Memory from Cats. I could hit every note with all, and all these guys would dress up like a cat, and they'd come in and they'd do this whole cat thing. And I was like, I'm not gonna dress up like a cat. So my dad's like, here's what we do. Literally at that time, the space shuttle had gone up with Christy McAuliffe that had blown up, right? So he's like, here's what we do. The song's called Memory, right? Let's make this mean something, right? And I had an easel set up, and we blew up the picture of that whole crew with Christy McAuliffe in it.
Yeah.
And I sang Memory in a full tux as a kid, like a little tux, like red, white, and blue, a little sequin vest, the cummerbund, the whole bit. And I came out there and did this thing, and people weren't expecting. Everything was real fun, and at this competition. And all of a sudden, I threw in something so heavy, I literally just tears would flow. And at the very end, I would bring out this wrapped flag, in a triangle, military style, and I'd lay it at the, beneath the portrait. And I realized my dad's brilliant. My dad really knows what he's talking about here. So then the next time I did America the Beautiful, and my thing kind of in Oklahoma was America the Beautiful. So they would call me to the state house there and sing in front of the steps and the governor. And I would sing in the summertime. I'd get the job of going out in front of the fireworks and singing before the fireworks at our local theme park, But doing these little competitions and stuff, I would make all these friends. And a lot of them would do crazy things. Like a lot of them would, some of them would be like ropers. Some of them would be jugglers. Some of them would be dancers. And I wasn't a heavy dancer then, but I got a dance scholarship, so I started dancing, and I got into that. And I kept meeting friends, and that kept building my skill level, which I didn't even realize, because it was more. We'd be backstage and be like, "Hey, show me how to do that. Give me that rope," or "Well, pass me that club. How do you do that? Let's listen. Oh, now we can pass. Okay, cool." And all of a sudden you're doing all these crazy things that, luck is when preparation meets opportunity, right? So when I had all these things in my tool belt, and also all of a sudden, when Mickey Mouse Club and those things kind of rolled around, I was ready to fire on all cylinders. I had all these things ready and prepared to do, it really helped me to land that role.
It's amazing, but it's so cool that you found your people that, maybe your family was like, oh yeah, well, we've all done sports. He'll do sports, but it's like, nah, but I'm going to find my people over here. I think this is it. But how many kids have all those opportunities to develop that skill set? That's amazing.
I think my dad was into it for that reason. He found the competitive edge of it and the fun of that, and kind of building, and there was a teamwork aspect, which he appreciated, which I think is important. But my parents, I have a long line of preachers in my family. I have a long line. We had a farm. We raised cows. I lived in the city, but we also, the family had a farm. It was very simple, flat Oklahoma lifestyle.
Yeah.
I've been to Oklahoma City a couple of times because my wife is a graduate of OCU. So she has friends there. So I've been there a couple of times, and you were saying that, it's more built up now, but it's also cool I don't get to the Midwest too much as a New Yorker. So just to see,
as a New Yorker,
yeah,
I can only imagine as a people, they're so nice there. People are so nice there that most people from the East Coast think they're being fake.
Yeah.
They're just like, is this guy screwing with me right now? Like,
Yeah.
You'll be driving and someone in front of you will be like, I think this guy's in a hurry. Well, I'm just going to pull over and let him through.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no flipping the bird. There's no honking. It's just like, well, this guy behind me seems like he's in a hurry. Come on through, young man. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
We grew up going to Disney every year, and this is why we're here. And I remember, like, we would land, we would rent a car, and as soon as we get to that first toll booth, the people were always so nice, like, hey, have a great day, thank you so much. And our parents immediately would be like, well, we're not in New York anymore, here to go. So, like, it was just such a change.
Yeah, I want what they're drinking. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I feel like this will give you a nice common through line that, as Jen said, you found your people, you found your community, your group very early on. Because to us, when we got into the Mickey Mouse Club, I feel like the thing that jumped out, of the screen was that you guys had like a team energy, a team unity, like the chemistry was palpable, really. I know that your journey there started out as an audition for a movie that was going to be based on the Mouseketeers, right?
Right, yeah. Why? Because we like you. Yeah.
Yeah.
That the first casting call they made, where they were going across the nation finding these kids, was to find the original Mouseketeers as kids. So they were doing this movie about the original Mouseketeers, and I was going to play Lonnie, but Tiffany Hale was there, and she was up for Annette, and she probably landed the role of Annette.
Wow.
Jennifer McGill was there, so I met a number of people there, but I think that's it, honestly. Sean Phelan was there, who was in the pilot, who ended up being moved on to some other things and some other Disney movies. He wasn't in the first season by the time I went to the first season. But yeah, so at that time there was a huge writer's strike. I'm sure you've heard me say some of this before, but there was a huge writer's strike in '89, and for anybody who was alive then, and everything was reruns. Everything was getting canceled. There was anything that had a budget was just getting wiped out. It was bad. And Disney being Disney was like, well, we're still doing this thing in Florida because this doesn't really mess with us. We have our own channel, for one, which is subscription based at that point, so it didn't matter. And they needed something in that park. They were building that park, hell or high water. They didn't care. So like, I don't care if a writer strike. We're building this park because we're competing with Universal and we're doing this. Right? This is what it's going to be. And so they needed a live-in set, for something that wasn't going to be, coming in or out at different times, but something that people could depend on, that it was a staple. They knew they would see if they came. So they wanted us there, and they wanted us there during holidays. They wanted us there. They wanted us there, at Christmas. They wanted us there at Thanksgiving. And we got really used to that. It was really crazy, having that happen where the tours and all that would come through. But yeah, initially it was a movie, and some of the kids just got moved right over to, the cast. It was the same casting director, so he's like, okay, well, I'm doing this TV show, so I'm just going to take some of these kids right here and put them on this board over here now, and that kind of started that, and then they continued to search and cast the rest.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, Jen and I often have this inside joke kind of thing. It's not really an inside joke, but where I always blame her for the things I watched when I was a teenager, because we're 7.5 years apart in age. Yeah. So things like, oh, well, I'm just watching the Muppet Babies because Jen's watching Muppet, not because. And so I think that joke happened later on when it came to me watching the all-new Mickey Mouse Club. But I kind of remember early on that because I played baseball, and so I don't think I caught the first season in its initial run. I think what sparked me was there was a 4th of July special on, and in Walt Disney World, and there was a Aiko Aiko in Typhoon Lagoon music video. Yeah. And I was kind of like, what is this? And what are they doing? And what's happening? And immediately, jumped on board with that, and then blamed Jen for the next multiple seasons.
Yeah, because when we would go to Disney on vacation, we would need someone to record the Mickey Mouse Club for us on the VHS for when we got back, so we didn't miss anything. So he would be like, can you tape this for my sister while we're gone? Thanks. And it's, really for the both of us. Yeah.
I used to walk up a hill in the snow.
Yeah, exactly.
This is what we sound like. You know, we didn't have TiVo. We didn't have. We had these VHS tapes that literally rot in 10 years.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what we're stuck in. Like,
I didn't know how to use a timer.
Yeah. You have to press play record at the same time. Make sure you start it at the beginning so we don't miss it.
The first season was before #AlwaysMGM opened, as we like to call it, and then I think the later seasons was post the park opening. What was it like to even be on the site, right? Because you were on site during the final building, I guess, of the studios.
Yeah, we filmed the pilot and part of the first season before the park opened. So they would bus in kids from local schools and different places, probably different parts of the park, to come over, and they would kind of bring them backstage and let them into the stage area that way. But yeah, it was wild. I mean, our first season, I think our pilot, when we first came in, we were in like RV trailers, like fancy RV trailers. There was two Musketeers to a trailer, and I think it was during the pilot. And they were their back ends were backed up against Great Movie Ride, but it was they were lined up what is now Pixar Street. So we basically, our camp was like Pixar Street. Our wardrobe department was there. Yeah. We had a school close by in there. We had a rehearsal studio close by in there. All different kind of portable buildings that were set up on that street. That was all off limits. And even when the park opened, that was still off limits. That Pixar Street opened up later, as I'm sure you know.
Yeah. I was actually a cast member at the studios as in character entertainment from 95 to 99-ish, somewhere in there. So, you know, even just walking back there, knowing you guys have been back there, I was like, this is like the greatest thing ever.
I mean, we were there when even all the big around the lake, and before there was water in the lake. I mean, there was I remember Jennifer McGill's mom taking her station wagon, you know, the kind where you could like sit in the back, the kind, you know, where there's like a random kid in the back. And we took it, and she's like, I'm going this way, I don't care, you know what I mean? And they literally weren't doing construction at that time. They all went home or something. It was later in the day. But she took it literally around the lake, like around in front of Great Movie Ride. It was all dirt. It was just all dirt, and, you know, just kind of checking out all the amazing stuff that was going on. So yeah, it was, not only was it fun to grow up in that park, but to watch it kind of grow. I mean, I think I remember sitting in school. I have this random memory sitting in school watching them with the crane put the swan on the Swan and Dolphin, you know, because we could see it from our window out of our school, you know, and you're just like, whoa, this is crazy. And they'd use us as guinea pigs to ride the rides. They'd be like, okay, we need you to ride Star Tours now. We got, you know, Tower of Terror is open, so who's gonna come? You know? Yeah.
Did you realize then, like, how cool that was? I mean, were you able to put it into perspective at that point of like, this is kind of amazing?
Yeah, I mean, the hardest part was just not to kind of get in trouble, you know what I mean? Yeah. We're still kids, so
yeah,
you know, it's real easy to like. We'd be in school, and I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna go get an English muffin at Craft Services, which is like this little small walk across the bridge.
Yeah.
So you're already thinking they're gonna think I'm gonna be gone maybe 10, 15 minutes. And but I'll come back and tell them I went to the restroom too, or whatever. But you know, immediately we'll meet somebody else, and all of a sudden we're running through the gate, and we're riding the Great Movie Ride and riding back, coming back.
Yeah.
Or you know, we see a girl and we're trying to like, hey, let's get her phone number. We got to get her phone number. You know. Yeah. All things that we should have never have been doing, but looking back, you know, pretty innocent.
Yeah.
We did run into the back because, like I said, our trailers were against that wall.
Yeah.
That is the side of the Man's Chinese Theater. Right. So there's doors there.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, we're like, all right, and we'd sneak in and be like, oh, someone's coming.
Yeah.
You know, and we go through, and we found our way into the gangster scene. So you know, when the tourists come by, we like pose.
Yeah.
And then we'd run out of there and laugh. And I always joked that, like, thank God we didn't find our way into the Western scene with all the fire or something.
Yeah, right.
But I'm sure we would have gotten in real big trouble because you know, they don't play around with safety. If you were a cast member, you know, you know, they don't joke around with safety or going indoors you're not supposed to go in.
Right. Yeah.
but we were kids, so
Yeah.
I'm sure we had a little bit of a license.
Yeah, that's true. So when you all were brought together, I mean, did you all just hit it off right away, or did they kind of do some, I don't even know, like some role-playing games, team building, yeah, like to make the connections?
We weren't all brought in at the same time.
Okay.
Most of us were. We kind of started with a rehearsal. We kind of jumped us right into some rehearsals, and so some of us had met, and then later on in that week, they did a huge picnic, and it was at Fort Wilderness actually.
Okay.
And we did this huge barbecue and met everybody, met the parents, met the cast. And yeah, it was wild. I mean, most of us hit it off pretty quickly. And like I said, I was used to that kind of community from, Oklahoma. So I recognized we all had common ground. This was going to be real fun.
Yeah.
And I already knew Jen, and I already knew Tiffany. But there is a funny story where when me and Damon first saw each other, I was like, who is this jackass? Like, because he came in firing like on all cylinders. He's like, hey buddy, how are you? I love you, brother. And that's totally him. That's his dad is like that. And he's literally like a little Phil. He's like his dad. And, but to me, I was like, what is going on right now? This guy's like came in like a tornado. He came in like he owned the place and he's never met any of us. Right. Yeah. And I was coming from Oklahoma, and I remember that was when I had like friendship bracelets all on my arm and like weird rings that I had made with safety pins. And like, I think I had snakeskin boots on with like ripped jeans. I was looking very rock and roll Oklahoma. Like just, I don't know what I was like. So I remember him like looking at me like going, who is this idiot with the snakeskin boots? Right? And of course, within the day, we had our arms around each other and loving each other. And it's like, Damon has that as a talent. That Damon's talent is one of the best talents ever. And he can literally walk in a room and he can make people who want to hate him love him. It's the most amazing talent. But at that party, interestingly enough, and this hasn't really ever been talked about, but at that party, breaking news. Yeah. At that party, back then they used to take you on a tram from the front of Fort Wilderness into the back, right?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Now you get on a bus, I think. But back then you get on trams. So or maybe because it was private to us, we had trams. They put us on a tram and trammed us over there to the area. But when I left Oklahoma, knowing all these random different people, some of those guys were rappers, a group of rappers, these three guys. And they, at my going away party, they rapped me this Mickey Mouse Club rap, I can't even remember it, but, but it was like, the Mickey Mouse wishing you good luck. It was just, it was kind of cheesy, but it was what people were doing. It was very Run DMC. Yeah. And so we were screwing around on that tram while we were riding, and me and Damon were beatboxing back and forth, and we started rapping the rap for the Mickey Mouse Club thing.
Oh my goodness.
Who's the leader of the club? And we were doing that while the other one was beatboxing, and we kept doing that. And Albert wasn't there yet. We met Albert later on. He came into the apartment complex because they said another guy's coming, and we were like, oh my god. and then Albert came in, and of course he fit right in like a glove with Damon and I. We couldn't really separate us. But yeah, that's kind of how that rap started. And some of the producers were listening to us, and they reminded us. They were like, you guys should do that after the song. And we were like, okay, yeah, sure. Of course.
Well, and that's what I guess what maybe part of the reason why that all jumped out too, for something like that to translate over into the show, then it made you feel like you had a personal, like it connected you to the show too, to really set all that emotion.
We were always trying to do cool things on the show because we knew, Disney was still trying to figure things out back then. They didn't have like a game plan like they have now. They have a well-oiled machine where they know what to do with artists and how to do it. Not that we were an experiment, but in a lot of ways we were there for the tour in the park, and they didn't really know how well we would succeed on the channel. And by the subscriptions that came in, they realized what a success it was becoming on the channel.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it was, and I guess that was just clear from the get-go. And did you have that feeling that it was successful right out of the gate? And did you know it was because of those connections? And what were some of those connections that really stood out to you along the way?
We didn't know. We really didn't know. I remember we watched the premiere of it on set because we had just wrapped doing some of the other shows, and they turned off all the lights, and we had a big party, and we watched the premiere. And it was awesome to watch. But I don't think they knew it was a hit then. I think they literally knew by those subscriptions that came in.
Yeah.
And I wish it was what it is now. I mean, I wish they owned ABC back then, and I wish it could have been seen by such a bigger market, because the people that got to watch it have carried it this long. I mean, you can tell how deeply affected people are. Now as an adult, we didn't realize. I don't think we realized the impact we were making on people, because we were truly having this experience and having fun. So what we were giving you was us, and we were really having fun. We were growing up in a theme park, for God's sakes. We were really having fun. And again, it was really hard work, but there was so many of us to keep each other light and having fun. And of course, Fred was there. Fred was there to keep it fun. I mean, it was just a crazy experience. I mean, I don't even know how to even surmise it.
Yeah. I mean, even for me, like I said, all I did was play ball in high school. That was really all I knew. And what you guys were teaching me on the show, one is I only had done drama club in elementary school and things like that. I didn't think that was a real thing for me. But, watching people who, again, I had that Disney connection, so I felt that. I was interested in MGM, so I felt that. But I was also watching performers who were not afraid to do things that in a high school setting would be judged upon, or looked down upon, or you'd be made fun of, things like that. It was there were things that I found amusing and funny and enjoyed, because I felt the connection somehow. And I only attribute two things to me really becoming a performer of any kind, and I can't sing and I can't dance. It's that it was All New Mickey Mouse Club and Streetmosphere and Citizens of Hollywood at the studios. And those two things together is why I transitioned from ball into theater. But it was really the idea of there was nothing you guys wouldn't do. There was no sense ever that what you were doing, you felt silly or ashamed, or you couldn't see that twinkle of self-judgment or anything. You guys just went out and did it balls to the wall kind of thing, and it was apparent on the screen.
We kind of made, in a way, this in a great way, by everybody being as talented as they were, we brought the best out of each other at all times. So it's and I use the golf analogy, and a lot of people don't golf, so it doesn't really hit. But if you go golfing with somebody who's a really good golfer, all of a sudden you're hitting them straight, and all of a sudden you're making putts. And you're like, oh wow, I didn't realize I was this good. It just rubs off on you. Some people were better dancers than others. Some people were better actors than others. Some people were better at handling stress than others. It was just, and kind of like what you're saying, there was no internet back then. So, much like I had a community in Oklahoma, people would find someone to relate to in the show, and they would stick with them, because we were literally, I was Chase on the show. I was myself. And, so whether you were, black, white, green, purple, short, fat, skinny, buck teeth, no teeth, it's just, there was somebody there going through something at all times. My voice changed on the show. It was traumatic for me, because I had this crazy high voice that I would always show off. Like I said, I was doing memory from Cats.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'd be singing Streisand. And now all of a sudden, I didn't have that. But I had all these amazing mentors around me. They'd be like, oh, Chase, you don't understand. Your voice is going to be so much better. You just have to just take your time, be patient, got to build it back. But to have all these amazing people around us, and I got to give it to Disney, the forethought of, obviously they tried it in the 70s, where they started to bring in other ethnicities. And just recognize what that would mean to be seen on TV like that, all of us together, and the power that would bring by us being all together like that, So that's where I really give it to Disney, that we got to grow up in that environment. We got to grow up in this really safe environment where, some people were Muslim, some people were, heavy Catholics, learning all about the Filipino culture with Didi, and I do school at her house sometimes, and meet her grandpa, and just meet, and her parents would cook for us, and just all the amazing cultural things that got to go on during that time that enlightened us as people. I think I'm truly spoiled in that way, to where, everybody that came out of that show has a specific view, that's wow, of race relations, of, they were talking about things on the show about the environment back then. One guy reminded me the other day that he was on the show. He hit me up on Twitter and he's like, "Hey man, I was actually on the show when I was a kid. The subject was talking about divorced parents, of which I came from." And I was like, "Dude, really? I don't even remember. I hardly even remember that."
Yeah.
But the fact that Disney was willing to touch that and realize that that was important for children to see. Yeah, we sang and danced and we did all these things. But for them to pepper that in was, pretty awesome. Not only for you guys as viewers, but for us growing up. We were still learning too. We were kids. It's not like we were professionals playing kids. We were literally kids, and we made mistakes all the time. We said things we shouldn't have said all the time. In fact, I'll give you a really funny story that probably Disney doesn't want me to tell, but there was a time when, and this is a great learning experience for us. There was a time when we were really into James Brown. Really into James Brown. We was like, oh, we love James Brown. Of course, Damon truly loved James Brown. So he brought that within us, and the dancing, the stamina, the songs, and there was a time he got thrown in jail, right? And we were like, what? James Brown's in jail? What? Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me, right? And we felt so wronged, and we must have been 13 years old. So what do? We went to the Florida Mall, and we printed up shirts, free James Brown.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah. And we put those on, and we ran out in front of the audience. We got the whole crowd saying, free James Brown, free James Brown. And before you know it, dude, our producer came out and grabbed us and was like, literally like you'd see a parent grab somebody from by the ear, just like, and came out and like threw us in a conference room, and we're just like, oh my God. And he's like, this is what I'm going to do for you guys. I'm going to try to give you a teaching lesson here. And he's like, this is something you could easily be fired over, for one. But let me explain. We didn't understand why. We were totally idiotic and ignorant. And he pulled out a front page newspaper of James Brown's wife that had been abused. A picture of her face. Whether it was true or not, it doesn't matter. And then, and said, is this what, this is what you're out there representing right now? This, do you understand the message? And we were just like, oh my God. My God, So we would, and at that point, after that happened, we would get kind of media training, and there were people that come in and talk to us. But honestly, it wasn't even media training. It was more mentoring us to be good young men and good young women, right?
Yeah.
And just good people. Yeah. Not because Disney wanted us to, but of course Disney wanted us to, but I mean, they truly cared. But I can say this, a lot of the crew that came, like we did, we came from all these different places, right? And the crew did too. A lot of the crew wasn't from Orlando. The crew came from random places in New York, and a lot of the writers and came from LA. So everybody was disconnected with their normal community, right? Yeah. And usually when you do a job, you're there for the job and everybody's friendly, but then you can leave. You can leave that at home. And now you go, when we left, we'd go to the apartment complex that everybody lived at. Or we would go, and there was only 2 or 3 apartment complexes that people were using, or some people rented houses. So all of a sudden be like, oh, they're going to have a barbecue at this guy's house, or we're going to play touch football this weekend over here. So the crew really, became to love us and mentor us in all sorts of ways. If you wanted to run a camera, all of a sudden you could be propped up on a guy's lap going, okay, here's the focus, here's how you switch. Whatever you wanted to learn was at Access. I think mostly because there was a good bunch there. There was a good bunch of kids, and we wanted to learn. We were eager to learn, and of course, these people felt disconnected. So we all just bonded in such a weird way. And I've been on many shows, but nothing like this. And everybody had that same experience. When we went to MMC 30, a lot of them talked about that.
Yeah, and I think it translated to us as we're watching it, and it's also, you kind of have like Sesame Street when you're little to teach you right, wrong, or maybe Mr. Rogers or something. But then like there's this whole period of time where there was nothing out there for kids to be watching as they're going through teen years and maybe going through a divorce or learning about the environment. I mean, where else were you going to see something like that on TV? And the fact that you were all friends behind the scene came through. And I think also because you guys were also learning it, it was a good way for us to learn it because you were right there with us. So it all definitely translated across the screen, if I can speak.
So somewhere in between season 2 and season 3 is were you guys started thinking about putting together a little group, and that's how the party came to be. What were the conversations had? How did that get going? Was it with Disney or just on your own?
We'll never know, but
It's a mystery. Chicken and egg.
time, yeah, really, it is. Timing is everything in life, and I think at that time, we were living on the set. When we were there, 6:30, 7 in the morning, going to school, and we'd wrap later in the day, late, and we'd get bored, So if we weren't in a lot of the scenes that week, then you'd see us roaming around the back, basically screwing off. So there were times when we, I think Damon, Albert, and I said we were going to be in it. We were going to make a group. Not that we were going to leave Mickey Mouse Club, but we were like, let's make a group. We're going to be a little posse.
Yeah.
All right. And I think people caught wind of that. I think people watched us doing that and watched us. We went to go write some songs with some people, and they saw us doing that. They're like, that's interesting. And then before you know it, you could tell people were kind of sizing us up in some numbers. Like there were certain numbers. I think Escapade was maybe one that I wasn't in, and somebody else was. There was another one, Party. Was it Party Man? I don't even remember the names of the songs. Some of the kids that watch it would remind me. Where the members of the party are the ones in the song.
Mm-hmm.
And we started to recognize that people were watching us. And we represented the Mickey Mouse Club at the ACE Awards, which doesn't exist anymore. It's the Cable Awards.
Right.
And so we got to perform, and we were up for an ACE Award. I don't know if we won or not. We were up for an ACE Award. And we performed Dancing in the Street. And I think it was at the Wiltern Theater in LA. It was amazing. I remember we were literally backstage. It was like Sherman Hemsley and Christopher Reeves and Cheryl Teagues and all. We were like, whoa, we were big time. Roseanne Barr's in the front. Oh my God. and we had a great time. We killed it. And they took us upstairs afterwards and they said, hi, we're with Hollywood Records. Here's what we want to do. We've been looking at all the Mouseketeers, and but this is you guys are kind of who we've chosen to do this, and we're going to have you writing with all sorts of people. And we were just like, what? but then we were like, well, we're not going to be on the Mickey Mouse Club anymore. And they were like, no, it's going to be a good thing. Don't worry. And we're like, okay, all right. So that was kind of scary as a kid. You're like, wait, I'm going to lose my friends. How's that work? Yeah. And so we kind of got handed over to Hollywood Records, and of course now we understand the business portion of that Hollywood Records was started much like Touchstone was as an offshoot. So they could get away with some more things under that realm, and they could be a little more this or that than under just. I think the Disney Records was doing back then. They were doing like the Electrical Light Parade record, and Pirates of the Caribbean record. They were very. There wasn't a lot, as from what I remember, and someone might correct me as some historian might, but there wasn't a pop machine going on. There wasn't what came later, Right. So we moved to Hollywood Records, and we were the first band signed to Hollywood Records. They had just acquired Queen. They bought the catalog to Queen. Pre Freddie Mercury dying. Again, timing is everything. So not much longer than that. After that, he did pass away.
Right.
And I think they used Bohemian Rhapsody in Wayne's World, and then he passed away, and all of a sudden the Queen catalog took off. So that was really great for Hollywood Records. Not that he died, but of course you know how that works. That helps the sales. But they, in a lot of ways, they didn't really have a plan. They were just kind of like, who do you want to work with? How do you want to, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
And we were like, oh, who do you want to work with? All right, well, we want to work with Dr. Dre. And they were like, okay, hold on a second. Let me get Eazy-E on the phone. And all of a sudden, Eazy-E's on the phone. Going, yo, what up, Peter? And we're like, Eazy-E's on the phone. And then he passed us over to Suge Knight. And literally they would ask us who we wanted to work with. And they'd be like, okay, well, we'll try it out, So in that sense, the education from being in the party was insane. Just the amount of amazing producers and writers they put us with. Guys that worked with Madonna and Paula Abdul, and just incredible, talented guys.
Yeah, it's wild. We faintly recall, and I don't know, was there a contest on the Disney Channel to name the party? Is that something that I made up in my head? Or
Oh, no. No. And believe me, we weren't happy about that. We were like, what? And they were like, no, this is, we didn't understand marketing or business strategy. We were like, what? You got to do what? Yeah. And they started doing these names, and I remember at some point they came in with a pile of names, and they were like, okay, here's let's go through these. These are our top 50 or whatever. And I think we got it down to a top 5, and then the party is not any one of those. Literally, I can't even remember what it was. I remember it being like Chaos, or like there was like some weird names in there. And all of a sudden we got a call from Michael Eisner and it said, the name of the band is The Party. I was like, wait, did somebody win? Or is that just like the Wizard of Oz coming in and telling us how it's going to, all right, sure.
Okay.
And then we were like, The Party, really?
Yeah.
And then we were like, you know what? If we're going to be named The Party, we're going to party everywhere we go. So we just took it and got crazy, and we would come into radio stations at 6 drive time in the morning, and you know the DJ would be like, okay, you guys are who? We'd come and go, yeah! And the guy'd be like, oh my God.
We're living up to our name constantly. Yeah.
We'd walk in real late, real like, okay, yeah, okay. And as soon as they'd be like, hey, we're live, we'll be like, yeah! We'd grab bells off their desk and start swinging around.
And I don't know if it's how it was during the time. It just seemed like that whole, because it's summer of '90, so it seemed like everything just happened because there was episodes of Mickey Mouse Club, and then there was this contest, and then there was the group, and then did it feel like the whirlwind? That because even from our band, I was like, wow, all these things are happening so fast and so exciting.
Oh,
how did it feel?
I mean, every time somebody says something like that, when you just said that, like I just got another memory that I don't even usually remember. Like I just randomly remember stuff when people say stuff like that. And I remember sitting backstage at Epcot, and one of our favorite songs was like Funky Cold Medina and Wild Thing. And remember those songs were like really cool back then. We were like, oh my God, this is amazing. And literally, as soon as we got signed, the first studio we ended up at is Delicious Vinyl, who created those songs with Tone Loc. And we're like, this is crazy. We went from a subscription, when you're a subscription based, show, like the reach wasn't as big as you think.
Yeah.
It got bigger later on. But yeah, it was nuts. And yeah, they would be like, okay, we're gonna drop you off at this writer. We're gonna drop you off at Quincy Jones's writer over here. We're gonna drop you off over here, and Glenn Ballard, or just these names. All of a sudden we'd be sitting in their house and we'd be writing songs with them. And honestly, coming out of the Mickey Mouse Club, we were super talented at all the things we knew how to do. But writing songs was not really a skill that like I honestly had in my back pocket, where I had all these other random things. So that was kind of a challenge to find myself, because I'd been with these guys all the time, and I'd been in this group where we all kind of, we could finish each other's sentences really. So to kind of really find yourself as a person and as a writer, that was the whole growth process as well. Just learning how to write with people.
Yeah.
I talk about, because again, I'm trying not to turn it into Frank's therapy session here, but the way that I see the Party's first 3 albums now, as we're the same age, that the debut album was kind of like the act 1 of the play, and in the meantime, in between time, was kind of like the height of the action. In My Dreams was such a huge hit for you guys, Club MTV, the whole thing, and then Free was kind of like the climax. Like you just watch these kids kind of just break out and become more dynamic than before. And that's, looking back, again, this is a kid playing ball his whole life. Like I was in my own little box, and I felt like those 3 albums kind of taught me to think outside the box a little bit more and get outside of myself a little bit more. Am I crazy? But I mean, how did you see the arc of that journey in the first 3 albums before we get to the final album go?
No, that's what you just said is an ultimate compliment, and I'll tell you why. Because when we first got signed and put in the Party, you've heard the term manufactured band, right? In that sense, it was right. Now we weren't a bunch of kids that had no talent, so we could definitely back up what we came to play with. But in that sense, they were really like, okay, you're the rock and roll guy. You're the black guy, so you're going to do the R&B. Damon's going to rap. She's going to sing this. She's going to sing that. And we kind of get pigeonholed into these things. And, but that's them not really knowing who we were either, because we were still trying to figure it out. Right. So in the meantime, in between time, we started working on Free. We started working on these other albums, but they were like, you got to put something out. So we put it out in the meantime, in between time. We didn't realize what was happening. We didn't realize what we were doing with that. That was the brilliance. Nobody in the Party can take credit for that, honestly. That was the brilliance of Julian Raymond, who was the in-house producer for Hollywood Records. And I got put with him a lot. He was kind of the rock and roll guy. He was super cool dude. And honestly, he probably, looking back at it now, he probably got stuck with a lot of things he didn't want to do in his career. It's because he was the in-house producer. So he's like, I got to do what? I got to do what with the party, right? I'd rather work with the Bullet Boys or somebody else, right? So, and he, so I'm sure he was like, all right, well, I'm going to put my 2 cents in now. Let's do a Dawkins song, And Peter Paterno, who was the president of Hollywood Records back then, was a big fan, rock and roll kind of fan like that. So they understood the brilliance of it. We didn't even know who Dawkins was. We had no idea. We hadn't heard the original when we went in to do that. Honestly, it was just a track and a song. And then we came in doing I'm thinking about good times, party. Like we came in and brought like our fun to it, and that song just took off. And looking back now, it's just the brilliance of them knowing to do such a heavy rock and roll song like that. And just that's brilliant. I did actually go and meet John Lynch later in life at a NAMM show, and I got to talk to those guys and was like, you probably don't know who I am, but I covered your song. And they were like, what? They literally stopped and they like gave me a big hug. And he's like, bro, I got that on my shelf at home. You charted it higher than we did.
That's so awesome.
I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. So yeah, I got his autograph and a nice picture and I carried on. But yeah, those were awesome. And Free was when you started to hear us with the writers that we wanted to be with, and we started to so you're getting more of a taste of us. That's when a lot more of those songs, a lot of the songs on that album were written by us. I think Needing Someone is on that one. That was one of my big R&B tunes that I did with Cliff Magnus, who worked with Wilson Phillips and a bunch of, there was like there's names on there people would have no idea, but like the history those guys have is incredible.
Yeah.
But you're hearing more of us on that, so that's a great compliment for you to like Free like that. And of course, that's when we got the freedom of working with Dr. Dre and Teddy Riley. So you're getting that extra like oomph of dance and that new jack swing.
Yeah, I worked at a Sam Goody in the early '90s, and I remember when the album came out, and I remember looking at the cover, going, "Oh, what are they doing?" And like in a good way, like this is, you could tell, like, all right, now they're really breaking out, and I just thought that was so cool.
Yeah.
I keep feeling like, Jen, I'm dominating, so please.
No, you're fine. No, I was going to ask though, as you transitioned from Mickey Mouse Club to the party, did you feel like you had the following of the kids, Frank, me, who left you on the Mickey Mouse Club to follow you to the party? Did you also find a new audience once you were with the party? Was it kind of this combination?
That's a super question, because the truth is Mickey Mouse Club was not cool then. So we all knew it was cool. People who actually experienced it and lived it. But Disney
knew
didn't
it was cool. Yeah.
Right. We knew it was cool. But
all of us.
Right. Outside of the subscription, people would be like, Mickey Mouse Club, it was literally a term like that's very Mickey Mouse Club. Mm-hmm. That's still a term. What is this, the Mickey Mouse? They use it in politics all the time. I get hits on my Google alert. I'm like, what? Oh, yeah.
Physics extra help session when I was in high school. What was it called? The Mickey Mouse Club.
There you go. So, when we first put out our first CD, no one wanted to play it. So even though it was Delicious Vinyl, so that's what they would lead with. They'd be like, this is a Delicious Vinyl track. And it would be literally a black CD cover or a black record cover, because they would give them to DJs too. And it would just say The Party on it, Summer Vacation, no picture, no nothing, no Disney, no nothing. Wow. And as soon as they found out it was Disney, they'd be like, shing! And it was upsetting, And later, the more people who hit from that show, people were like, son of a gun, these guys actually were talented, And so now, it's a badge of honor. When most of us got to Hollywood, in fact, our agents made us remove it from our resumes. So we actually had to rebuild our whole careers. Kerry Russell, Tony, all of us, our managers told us to take it off our resume. It wasn't as big. It didn't have as big of a reach, as, so when we got into the party, all of a sudden we had a huge reach. And, when the tours they put us on, sure, we had our Mickey Mouse Club fans that were there because they promoted after the show, so kids would know where to go. So that'd be cool. But yeah, we would win people over just by the talent and, the slam and dancing. A lot of people thought we lip synced most of the time. They'd be like, these guys are lip syncing, and we didn't.
Yeah.
Because you must have been in our area that you're opening up for Taylor Dane. That's the one that sticks out as who you opened up for. Who else did you get to go tour with?
We toured with Taylor Dane, Color Me Bad. We did a switch off tour with High Five where we'd open, they'd open, we'd open, they'd open. Mm-hmm. That was a great tour. And then of course our big one was this is when Free had just hit, and so this all worked out. The timing is everything. So Vanilla Ice had just stolen the Queen loop, the doom 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 doom. Of course, he wouldn't use the word steal. You know, he sampled, and he changed one note. You know, and whatever. And you know, and of course, people were just learning how to maneuver that realm anyway. But of course, Hollywood Records owned Queen, and part of the settlement was, well, you got to take the party on tour with you as well. And he's like, all right. And we actually became great friends with him. He's actually super cool. And we, you know, I think we earned his respect, as we did a lot of his, you know, harder fans and a lot of other people that we were Mickey Mouse Club. I think we earned their respect as soon as they saw us dancing. Yeah. I can tell you, when we came to New York, we were thinking we were going to get booed off the stage. You know, we did Club MTV. And we started dancing, and people were like, "What?" People were way into it, and I know they didn't watch the Mickey Mouse Club. You know, they were just into the fact that, you know, we were young kids and of all different races, and we were throwing down. You know.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, we talk. You know, what do you think the party's legacy is for that time period? Because we can talk about, you know, the last decade or so in a bit. You know, Jen and I are big pop culture junkies, so whether it's, you know, what predates, you know, Jen was a huge NKOTB fan. You know, we both enjoyed the whole TRL. You're huge. We were very much into the whole TRL scene, just in terms of like the sheer magnitude of the popularity. But during that time, I felt like if you guys were just 5 more years, you'd be in that mix. Like, do you get that? Like, do you feel like you, in some way, helped ignite that a little bit, fan that flame?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's where the timing actually bit us in the butt too, because as soon as we kind of came in late, you know, New Kids. If we would have came in when New Kids came in, we would have gotten to ride that train a little better. Right. When we came in, the pop music was starting to fizzle away. And the Seattle sound was coming in. I've talked about this many times, but like the, you know, Soundgarden, I was wearing flannel shirts. I was into it too. I was into Pearl Jam. I was into Black Crowes, Alice in Chains, Soundgarden. All these guys were hitting hard. Everyone was signing those things. And I was like, well, I can do that too. Cool. Yeah. You know, and just not, you know, we're kids. We didn't realize that everything comes full circle and things, you know, get recycled all the time. And sure enough, Backstreet Boys, I think, had just started right then, right when we quit. They were just starting to hit those magazines, and you know, and they made it through that time when it wasn't cool to be that kind of band. And then all of a sudden, when people wanted that again, they were ready, they were prepared, they were ready to go. And we had already disbanded. But you know, it's tough. But you know, as I wish the legacy was better as far as, you know, what you're talking about. That it would help if our songs were obviously released digitally through Hollywood Records. But that's something that, and I know a lot of fans, you know, write me every day like, why isn't this on iTunes? Where can I find this? And I'm like, man, it's not under our control. I wish it was.
Well, and it's the only Mickey Mouse Club not being on Disney Plus yet, which, you know, everyone talks about, and the album's not being digitally available yet is crazy to me. I know I've heard you say that the last album have a deeper place in with you, or
just like I was saying about the Free album, we kept getting more control over. You know, of course, they're not going to give you the reins to this huge multi-million-dollar thing. They're not going to go, okay, guys, here's a stack of money. You guys go do what you want. You know, of course, they're going to control that, and which totally makes sense. But as time went on, and we would have conversations with them, and we would prove our worth, or our writing skills, or our producing skills, they would give up a little more. And at that point, during the last album, we all had already talked about splitting up. Damon had already taken a leave. He wanted to be more with his family, because we were on tour all the time. We never really went home. And he really wanted to spend time with his family. And he's like, you guys, I need a break. So we were actually doing shows without Damon. And we went into the Hollywood Records, and we talked about the future. And Dee Dee was kind of like, I remember us asking if we could get a band, and that wasn't in the budget for us. So we were kind of like, you know, like that means we got to just keep dancing to tracks again. And And we were like, I don't know, and Dee Dee's like, well, I think I want to try something new. And we were like, what? So Dee Dee was actually the first one to actually say something. She doesn't remember that to this day, but me and Albert do. Me and Albert were like, what? And so, and he's like, okay, well, this is what I'll do. Instead of doing some goodbye party or I give you guys each a budget, you guys go do whatever you ever wanted to do, right? And I don't care what it is. If you want to do F the police, if you want to do Mr. Bongmeister, I don't care what it is. Like that, he was literally like, just do whatever you guys want to do. And that'll be my gift to you. So they gave us a good little budget, and I'm moving on, which is kind of the story of moving on. We're moving on, and it kind of really made sense of, and that everybody got to do what they wanted to do, and explore. And so I thought that was fun. So there's a great songs on there. Yellow Butterfly. There's such great songs on there, and of course none of them get released because we're gonna disband at that point. So they're not gonna go ahead and put a bunch of money into a single and try to push that. You have to tour to support it. So it was kind of just a great gift. And then after we left, they did this greatest hits album, which we had no idea was coming. and who knows what happened with that? I don't know if they couldn't find the vocals for some of those songs, or they were giving you guys TV tracks on purpose. I don't know.
Funny.
Because some of those songs have no vocals on them, as you know.
Yeah, that's wild. So transitioning into what you've been up to personally during the mid 2000s, you created Buzzfly Records. What was it like to finally jump in and create your own thing and just get the ball rolling? I love your website at ChasenHampton.com because of the create, educate, resonate. So maybe you can just talk a little bit about that. Yeah,
that Buzzfly was me still in that rock and roll phase and trying to find who I was outside of Damon and Albert and the rest of the crew and everybody else in the party. So yeah, it was just me getting with a live band and some players and digging in and really writing as many songs as I could to kind of just figure that out. And I'd play shows all over Sunset Boulevard and a lot of the pictures that you see with a lot of the kids, like there's some later on pictures with I think like Nikki and Ryan and myself and Mark and Tony and the number of us, like some of us at the Martini Lounge, some of us at the Whiskey. Those are those guys supporting me at my shows, at those Buzzfly shows. They'd come, and I had some great promoters back then, and I'd play a lot of the big clubs. Hugh Hefner would be there, and all sorts of fun stuff. And that's just us, in our teenage years and kind of into our 20s after that's all over, just kind of experimenting. So I did start Buzzfly Records to do that. Yeah. Which we still have. I mean, that's just between me and one of my partners. But right now I do CHASENLIFE. It's my artist development company. And I'm not sure if you know this, but while I was in when you're in LA, you have to get all sorts of side jobs because it's expensive to live there. So, some people are bartenders, some people do all sorts of stuff. So I became a music director of a school and ended up music director of two schools out there, one in Agora Hills and one in Studio City. And what was really interesting about this school, the one in Agora Hills, is basically the backside of Malibu. So the people that would bring in their kids there were Elton John Band, REO Speedwagon, Def Leppard, Motley Crue. These guys were dumping their kids off to be taught music. And I'm like, wait, they could teach you how to play music, but their dad, that no one's going to listen to dad. I literally would teach, I'd teach Nikki Sixx's daughter, Stormy, vocals. And literally I would have Nikki Sixx, and his hair sticking up even higher, sitting Indian style next to me on the floor, listening to me teach. And then the whole time I'm thinking like, oh my God, he knows more than I do. But, and afterwards he'd be like, thanks for telling her that, we're working on the confidence, or, we're working on her grades at school. But I had this amazing experience being a teacher. And it was almost like everything I'd ever done on the Mickey Mouse Club and all these things came to this moment to where I can give back. And, we've obviously been blessed with a bunch of special experiences. So, to kind of give that back. And I was their age when I got signed, so I know what is expected of them. So if I'm hard on them, I can tell them why I'm hard on them. And, some of those kids now are in their 20s. Some of them have been playing the Tonight Show, Coachella, Lollapalooza. Yeah. Some of them have won, gone platinum now. Some of them have won iHeart Music Awards. Some of these kids have really gone on to win, and it wasn't about them being celebrities. Obviously, I love teaching kids just for the sheer fact of like what it did for me. It gave me confidence. It taught me how to be taught me how to be comfortable in my own skin, you know.
Right.
And some of these kids, their parents don't understand what they were doing, much like mine did. Mine were super supportive, but you know, they weren't in that world, so they need somebody. It's like you don't ask directions from somebody who's never been where you're going, you know.
Yeah.
So that's kind of that thing. But I truly love being a mentor and working with kids, and I do that remotely now. I did a lot more in California. I'm in Boston now, so I do it a lot remotely. I work with some bands out here. Yeah, I do custom songs in the house still, and still I'm kind of a jack of all trades. But yeah, giving back and to the kids and working with young performers has been a passion for sure.
No, that's awesome, because you do, I mean, you've talked about it today, but you've also talked about it, I've seen in other interviews, just how everyone around you, all the mentors you had for all kind of different aspects of your life as you're going through the entertainment industry. So it's so cool that you can now kind of pass down what you learned, especially for someone like you who did learn so many skills as you're growing up. You weren't just like, you're going to be a singer, now we're only doing that. You know, you picked up so much along the way. So that's cool.
That's why that experience was so blessed, because you literally could learn how to run a camera.
Mm-hmm.
You could run into the sound booth, and we all knew each other. No one was more important than the other. We'd hang out with the makeup ladies, and they'd teach you how to make special effects teeth, or like, you know, whatever you were into.
Yeah.
You could just ask, and they would, hey, come on in here and sit with me. And yes, to pick up those other skills. That's important for kids to know too, that you don't have to be in this industry to be a celebrity. There's so many other positions. You know, you could be a great producer, you know, there's so many great roles, and writers, and oh my God, you know, copyright and licensing. There's just so many different branches you can get into and be successful and still love what you do and still be in the music industry, right? Or entertainment. But
did you, going back to Mickey Mouse Club for a second, with the audience, it was always a young audience. Were you able to interact with them at all after the show, or meet with them at all? Yeah.
Yeah, there's a famous picture of me and my wife, because in the first season, they would bring the audience out onto what is now Pixar Street, and we would come out there and sign autographs with them.
Okay.
Until that became a problem, and they wouldn't do that anymore. But in the beginning, we would do that. We'd go hang out with them, and sign autographs, and that's where I actually met my wife, because she had huge hair then, and I had huge hair. So there's this great picture of us standing next to each other, our huge 90s hair, 80s hair.
Hey, I think this might be something. Yeah.
Love at first sight.
Yeah.
Like your bangs.
Yeah. What kind of hairspray do you use? Me too. That's so weird.
That's pretty much how the conversation went.
Yeah.
Use a flat iron to get it like that? Yeah, me too. Yeah. Stiff stuff. Yeah. Whole can.
Well, I mean, and I think, you know, the other thing too is that you recognize what made an impact on you and what was important to you all along the way, and just kept it, you know, you cumulatively grew it, you know, and it's become a part of you even now that, you know, here you're doing last year MMC 30, you know, with MegaCon was such a huge success. Jen and I shake each other every day, like, how did we not go to this? Why couldn't we go? We should have just, you know, and
too
you know,
late.
Yeah. And, you know, the songs, the tracks you've been putting out, you know, reuniting the party since 2013. Like, I mean, it's just got to be cool to know that you have made these relationships along the way, and they're still a powerful part of who you are.
It's really special. And you might have heard me say this before. I said it on some other interviews, but like, we've known that I've been real engaged ever since MySpace. I moved here to Boston like 8 years ago now. And it was winter here, and when it's winter here, everybody's so like, you know, they have their hats on and scarves, and you can't see who's who. Like, you know, I don't know who's. And we went into an Outback, and we were no one's standing outside waiting for the tables. Everyone's like hunkered in this Outback, and I just had my baby, so I had like a, you know, car seat. You know, you could tell I'm struggling. I'm a new dad, and I'm like, oh God, you know, no seat. And this guy said, here, he got up and let me have a seat. And I'm like, oh man, thank you so much. And his wife looked at me and was like, Chase? And I was like, yeah. And I was thinking, like, is our table ready? Or am I supposed to know you right now? Oh my God, I'm so sorry. And she didn't really say much more. And her husband was just talking to me, just like small talk, you know, not knowing who. He probably didn't even know why she knew my name.
Yeah.
And they called our table. I got to my seat, and And I looked down, I got a notification on my phone, and it was from her. And she said, I just met you in the lobby there, and now I'm at my booth bawling. And so I'm like, okay. And I read through this, and she literally wrote out why. And she said, I was a mixed child. I'm black and white. I'm mixed. I was adopted. I'm from a small town, and I was bullied. And I had nobody who liked me. I knew that I could come home every day at 5:30, and you guys were going to be there for me in a safe place. And I was just like, oh my God. And it even makes me kind of, tear up just thinking about it. And I literally just got up and walked over to her booth and just sat with her and gave her a big hug. But I was like, that's what this show did. That's why it was so special, because obviously we played ourselves. It was authentic. We were real. But it truly was therapeutic to a lot of kids who had, nowhere to hang or nobody to talk to or nobody to look up to. Yeah. I can't tell you how many fan mail I'd get from redheads. Just like, like, dude, you're the cool redhead. And I'm like, bro, like a month ago, I was not the cool redhead. Like when I was in school, I wasn't considered the cool redhead. But as soon as I got Mickey Mouse Club and I came back, all of a sudden, we was like, yo, Chase, you made it, bro. And I was like, yeah, I'm just here to see the music teacher. Thank you. Yeah. And everybody was super sweet to me. But yeah, they were, all of a sudden I was somebody in their eyes. And I was more invisible before. I can tell you that. I was that guy who would have wrote a letter to Eric Stoltz going, bro, I loved your performance, man. You were so good. Yeah. It's cool to see a cool redhead. Yeah.
Yeah. But you were an outlet, and you were, even when kids couldn't find their own community where they were, you were the sense of community for them. So
and there was no internet. I mean, it really, I think a lot of factors got them there. But those fans have been with us for 30 years, and that's amazing. And some of the Musketeers had no idea that that's still around. I talked to Moeva. I talked to a lot of the guys. They were like, "Do people even know who I am?" Moeva actually was like, "Do people really remember me?" And I'm like, "Are you kidding me right now?"
Yeah. We do.
Are you kidding? You're like a Mickey Mouse Club icon. Yeah. And she couldn't make it. She had a scheduling thing, but she really wanted to be there. But she was like, wow, I had no idea, because people aren't plugged in online. They had no idea. Yeah. So that was really special.
About 5 years and 6 years ago, you did a single called "I Can't Breathe." There's a lot going on in the world in terms of the power of music. And I mean, that's the other thing too. We started talking about just God Bless America and how music resonates with people, even in the spirit of competition. I felt like connected with you also early on is just how music resonates with people. I don't know if you could speak to it a little bit now about music and how it's important for people.
Well, as learning how to be a writer and learning as a writer, when we first started writing songs, all we knew to write a song about was like a love song, or you were trying to mimic some other song, But to be a writer, you're writing all the time. A lot of the stuff you never hear, never gets put out, but you're writing all the time. So, I wrote that in 2015 after Eric Garner, and I was just frustrated. I was frustrated much like I am now when I see the TV. And my view of it is, I recognize I'm a white gentleman. I am a Native American, but I recognize people identify me as a white guy, so that's fine. But, a lot of people don't speak up. There's a lot of people they're scared to touch it, but you know what? I was disgusted, and I'm not a civil rights historian. I'm not like a protester of any sort, but I'm writing down what I'm seeing and what I'm experiencing, and I'm disgusted. So I can go out and flip a car, or I can write a song, and that's what I do. I wrote a song and put my emotion in the song. But I was watching people march, and I was like, man, I wish they need a marching song, And that's where I had that track, and it just fit. It fit, and I was like, this is God trying to tell me something right now. I have to do this song. And I recognized right off the bat that I'm a white guy trying to, describe this incident, in this song. So I recognized that's something I can't do right off the bat. So I started working with hip hop artists out here when I first moved out here, and started singing features for them and meeting really great guys, and kind of fell into a great circle of really talented people. So I asked these two guys, and they said yes. And one's Dutch Rebel, who's like, she's Queen of the Bean. She's she's super tough. She's an amazing rapper, and she's getting written up in MTV and all sorts of stuff. In New England, she has a great following. And Rex, at the same time, Rex is the same kind of dude. He's amazing. One of the smartest guys I know. Just always reading and super smart. about civil rights and history. So I'm like, this is going to be perfect. He's going to give his experience as a Black man. She's going to give her experience as she's from Haiti. So she came here from Haiti. So as an immigrant and coming here and knowing what, so in her line, she's like, I came to the States for this, and, her view of what America is supposed to be and then what it is when she gets here. And my view as just this white guy who's like, man, I'm all I'm watching every time I turn on the TV is people burning cars. I'm seeing the same footage of the same car burning. I felt like the press is feeding the frenzy. Mm-hmm. So that's where I can't breathe. I can't breathe from just like the negativity. Right. Mm-hmm. So we did that song and of course I did get people who, got mad that it was me singing that. But hey, you know what? If you see the signs on there, white silence is violence, right? So, I mean, they want you to speak up. I wanted to speak up. Mm-hmm. I got more people thanking me for speaking up than not. Right. It actually got used in the Black Studies program at Duke University. The line was, even a Mouseketeer gets it. But what's really sad is, because I wrote this in 2015, and Rex in his lyrics, he talks about from Emmett Till to Trayvon, my mama prays on, same scenario plays on, we're here, they gone. Like he's giving you the history and of Emmett Till. Most white people don't even know who Emmett Till is. And go look that up. That's you're like, wow, okay, there's just some amazing things and to learn, and hopefully I enlightened somebody with that song. If somebody saw the video and felt uncomfortable, then I did my job. It's not supposed to be a song that makes you feel good. It's supposed to be for people who just need to know. And sure, there's absolutely great first responders out there. I have first responders in my family. There's people who, and this is unfortunate, this is kind of set the good people back, 10, 20 years or more, and trying to, have a good reputation. So we'll see where this goes. But, I think it's important to write truth and be authentic in the song. And, that's that. Hopefully I didn't upset. I know I lost a lot of fans doing that. But hopefully I'll win them back or they'll understand.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this has been everything to us. I think what you have been to our lives, but so many lives over the years, has been tremendous. I think everything we've talked about the past hour and 20 minutes, like, it's so great to hear. It's not surprising because that is what seemed to be, when you just say authentic every time, like the idea of like that, how important that is to me, just in stuff that I do is, I'm like, wow, that's where it comes from. It comes from watching you guys as a teenager when I was just a kid playing baseball on Long Island. Something was penetrating in my brain, not just about performing, but about being a better person and thinking outside my box down the line with the party. And it's hard to believe that was 30 years ago. But, I can't thank you guys enough, period, just for the influence you were in ways that, I can't articulate completely, as proven right now. So thank you very much for that.
It couldn't be a greater compliment. That's really sweet.
No, it's crazy. It's crazy to be sitting here talking to you. And like last year, we actually dug up our old VHS tapes, put them on a green screen behind us, and just sat there and like talked about the episode. Like, we're gonna put this up on YouTube, whatever. But it like the rush of memories and the rush of feelings that all of it brings back, like immediately hearing a song or seeing a clip, like, oh my God, I feel like I've seen this 100 times. I now haven't seen it since the last time I owned a VCR or whatever it was, but it's crazy. And it all came through the screen. The realness that you all had, the friendship you all had, the high energy you all had, it all translated and it gave us something to look forward to, and us and even Frank and I, who are 7.5 years apart, we connected with it and we connected with the show and would watch it together. And
it's probably why we're doing this right now.
True, yeah.
It's because we could connect over this even with the age gap. I think that it probably strengthened our sibling relationship a lot.
Yeah, yeah. So.
Well, I mean, we got a lot of big plans, so hopefully, we obviously it's super hard to. We're big dreamers, so we have a lot of plans we want to do. Hopefully, we can make some of these work. The fact that we actually got MMC 30, pulled off like we did was, insane. When you can dream something like that, it actually comes true. I don't know if we'll be able to pull that off again, but we'll be able to pull off a lot of things, and we're working on stuff now. So hopefully, we'll get it out soon and promote some stuff with you guys.
Very cool.
Thank you so much. ChasenHampton.com. Check out his website, just everything he's doing, tracks on iTunes, all the new tracks since 2013 with the party are out there. Maybe we'll get the original 4 albums out there someday. Get all new Mickey Mouse Club episodes on Disney Plus. We want all the things.
All of them.
Tag them. Tag Disney Plus. Tag Hollywood Records. Tell them.
Yes.
Hopefully they'll listen.
Jason, thank you so much.
No, thank you for having me. I really appreciate the time and all your years of being there with us. And it's just as special to us as it is to you. So hearing this from you guys is really a pleasure.
Theme Park Thursday with DillosDiz featuring Frank Cardillo and Jen Cardillo Snyder. The theme was composed by Matt Harvey. The intro and the outro was performed by Lindsay Zerugian. The DillosDiz fact checker is Mel Dale. You can follow DillosDiz on Twitter, on Instagram, and on TikTok at DillosDiz. Dillos with an S, Diz with a Z. You can like DillosDiz on Facebook, facebook.com/DillosDiz. And you can subscribe to DillosDiz on YouTube, youtube.com/DillosDiz. That's where you'll find the Parks and Monorail's most magical hour every Tuesday night, streaming live at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. DillosDiz, the Monday Morning Monorail podcast, together every Tuesday night. Go to DillosDiz.com for throwbacks, blogs, archives, and more. DillosDiz.com. Our special thanks to this week's guest, Chasen Hampton. Go to ChasenHampton.com to learn more about ChasenLife, artist development, and consultation. ChasenHampton.com. The Improviser's Guide Network 2020.